Hi everyone, welcome to the SYA Italy Google Hangout tonight. I'm Kate Martell, the Admissions Marketing Manager here at SYA Abroad, and I have some special guests with me tonight. I have Molly. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Molly Umbel, and I'm an Assistant Director of Admissions here at SYA, and I'm also your Italy Country Manager. So I'm the person who helps you from now until when you get on the plane.
Yeah. And we have another special guest, Gio, joining us remotely. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Gio. I did SYA Italy last year. I am from New York City and I go to Friends Seminary here. I'm a senior. And
Great, thank you. So first off, I want to congratulate everyone watching, because if you're watching this, you have likely been accepted to SYA Italy class of 2017, so congratulations. Tonight's agenda, we're going to ask Gio some questions, and maybe our friend Sophia, if she can join in, and then we're going to open it up to questions from all of you. So if you want to put in the chat box beneath this video any questions that you might have, either for Molly or for Gio and Sophia. Also, if you want to introduce yourself, even if you don't have a question, and tell us who you are and what school you go to and what state you're from, that would be great, so we can all get to know each other a little bit better. So we're going to ask Gio some questions. So like I said, if you think of anything we haven't covered, put it down in the chat box and we'll do our best to get to them at the end. So Gio, tell us, how did you feel when you were accepted to SYA? And if you can think back about those feelings, and what made you decide to attend?
I actually remember the exact day, time, and moment I was when I was accepted. I think I cried. I was really excited and happy. Applying to SYA was the most out there thing I've ever done. I was at my home school since kindergarten at that point. So I was really excited and really nervous. I didn't really know what to expect. And I took about, I want to say, 3 weeks to decide whether or not to go. And basically what it came down to was I didn't want to pass up the incredible opportunity that I'd been given, because it was so incredible to think of that living in Italy for a year was a possibility. I'm my heart's beating fast thinking about it. It's really exciting and nerve-wracking. I think that was the most stressful 3 weeks, deciding whether or not, because this might not be your case, but I really liked my home school. So there was a lot of factors for both sides, but in the end, the opportunity that SYA gave me was what made it.
Thanks. Yeah, that's a common theme. We talked to someone last night from SYA France who had also been at her home school since she was in kindergarten. So a little nerve-wracking for her, thinking about leaving a place where she had been for so long, but also really exciting to meet all kinds of new people. Molly and I were just talking about our study abroad experiences and how many different people that you meet from all over the world, all over the country. Great. So what were your first impressions when you got to Italy of the RD, of your classmates, of Viterbo? What were the first few days like?
The first few days, well, when you get to Italy, on the first few days, there's a festival going on. So you're spending the first few days with your host family, and everyone, they don't have school, they don't have work, you don't have school. So you're really just in, right when you get there, in the host family life. And I was definitely thrown off a bit, definitely a little homesick, but mostly excited. And I think what made it so great was I spent every second with my host sister. The second I got there, the second school started, evenings, mornings, days, because there was also so much activity going on. There were parades in the streets and parties at night, and there was all these different activities that kind of made it, you couldn't really think about how far away you were from home, because you were so in the moment, and so consumed by all the festivities. And I think that actually made it really easy for the first few days. and fun. And, it's a fun way to get to know your host family through something they've been celebrating for so many years and introducing it to you, kind of like introducing a bit of their life to you right after that. It's really fun.
Yeah, we schedule our departure for Italy so that students are able to get there in time for that festival. It's only celebrated in Viterbo, about the patron saint of Viterbo. And if you visit our blog, we actually did a blog about the Machina, this amazing huge statue that's recreated every year, that's carried through the streets by dozens, if not 100 people, and it's really incredible.
Yeah, it's insane.
Great. So you talked about hanging out with your host family, your host siblings for those first couple of days. Overall, what was your host family like? And do you have some favorite memories of your host family?
My host family was, I think, the best host family.
I think everybody said that.
Everyone thinks that. But my host family, I had a host mom, host dad, and then my host sister was actually 2 days younger than me. And then I had a host brother who was 28 this year. So I loved my host family. They were so welcoming and so they loved having host students. It was one of their favorite things, and they'd had, I think I was their 8th at that point. So they really knew how to work with a student who had just come, to a different country and deal with homesickness and deal with, interacting with them. My host sister spoke fluent English, so that was definitely a little help that I took quite often. And they were just mostly really loving, I would say. And I think that's pretty true for overall of the SYA Italy families. I think, having talked to people from SYA Spain and France and China, Italy is definitely, you get the best host families, I think. Because they're Italians. They want to feed you. They want to, they want you to be a part of their family. And I got really close to my host sister just through those first 4 days of tagging along with her and her friends, just by that. And after that, it's kind of just, this is what the year is going to be, and we're going to be best friends, and it's going to be great. She actually came and visited me this summer, and so she was here in New York for 3 weeks, and it was really good to see her. And yeah, that was one of my favorite memories with them overall. My mom came and visited sort of towards the end of the year, and we had dinner with her. I had dinner with her and my host family every night. My host moms would cook food. It'd be this big thing. I'd sit in the kitchen while my real mom and my host mom were cooking together, and neither of them spoke the language the other one spoke, and they just somehow figured it out without my help. I was doing homework. But I think that was really fun to see both sides of my family interact. It's always kind of stuck in my brain. I have this one memory of my host sister and I dancing in the kitchen while they were cooking. They just kind of became my real family. So when my mom was there, it wasn't this is awkward, who knows how to interact with each other. It was just a big family gathering, which was really cool.
Awesome. That's amazing. And I was going to ask if you visited them since, because a lot of our alums go back, or they have their families visit them here in the United States, and that must be really cool to be able to show your host sibling around your city and kind of reciprocate what she did for you from day one.
Yeah.
Cool. So we all know that school year abroad, it starts with the word school. So what were the classes like, and how was it different or similar to the classes that you take at your home school?
For me personally, the classes were easier in terms of workload, but the level of academics and the amount of learning I did was the same. Also, the content of the classes I think was a lot more interesting and interactive, because you're taking a global citizenship class while you're an American citizen living in Italy for a year. You're taking art history in Italy, and you're going on field trips to Greece, in my school, to Greece and to northern Italy, where you really get to learn what you're learn in your class, and then kind of take what you've learned and bring it out into the world and see it in person, which I think is really incredible and something I was really fortunate to have experienced. And something that made the classes that much more intriguing and interesting and made me want to do better. Another class that I really enjoyed was actually Italian class. The Italian teacher at SYA Italy is the sweetest woman. She will be all of your mothers if you decide to go. I promise you. I think that's another thing that's really special about SYA is the teachers become your family because you're spending, because they kind of understand. The American teachers definitely understand what you're going through because they're going through the same thing. And then the Italian teachers just really want you to enjoy your time there. And so they're being just as equally understanding and loving. So it's kind of, your classes are, your classes and your learning, but it's also really fun because your teachers, you come really close to your teachers.
Nice. So I want to back up really quick and just ask Molly about the host family process, because we talked about host families, but a lot of students ask about how they actually get matched up with their host family.
Right.
Do you want to just talk a quick
Yeah,
minute?
sure. I always think it's funny because an alum always says that their host family is one of their favorite parts of the whole program, but it's always what people are most nervous about before they go.
Yeah.
So just a little bit about how it works is we have a host family coordinator in each of our countries. And so what they do is they'll send you a survey that you'll fill out before you leave. And that will include everything from what you like to eat, what age you want your host siblings to be, anything you can imagine, even personality stuff. And we'll give that to our host family coordinator, and she'll look at it and she'll match up with the family based on that information. And a lot of people say that our host families really are the best part of the program, like you said. And we really pride ourselves in matching our kids up with great host families. Yeah.
I've seen firsthand the matching process when I chaperone the summer students to France and to Italy, and they have this meeting where, you know, when the students arrive in Viterbo or in Rennes, and all the host families are there, and they're, you know, calling out this family is with this child, this student, and it's uncanny. I mean, it sounds really silly, but like you get verklempt watching this because you're like, oh my God, they're gonna have so much fun. Like they just look like they belong to that family. It's really, it's weird and amazing at the same time to kind of like see how well they fit. I don't know. It's really cool.
The thing she's talking about, those first few moments of your host family, you're all lined up. You're all lined up. You've just gotten off the bus from the airport. Like, no sleep. And you're all waiting in line, and you have to walk up as your name's called up, and they say your name, and they say your host family's name, and you both run to each other, and you either hug or kiss or shake hands. They tell you before, you just have to figure it out and see what happens, and everyone is terrified, but the host families are smiling so big, and they're so happy to see you, and that's maybe the only photo you'll have with your host family. You take a photo that second, and it is hysterical and incredible, and so good.
They're just as excited to meet the student as the student is to meet them. Like they're just as pumped.
Yeah, totally.
Okay. So moving on a little bit, and we do have a question for those of you who are just joining us. Make sure that if you want to introduce yourself, you can in the comments under the video, and also if you have any questions, we'll do our best to answer those. We have a question, and it's actually my next question too, is about extracurriculars. Do you want to talk about any extracurriculars that either you participated in or your friends? And then Molly, do you maybe want to talk about that process once they get there?
Yeah. So I was part of a volunteer program where we tutored Italian students English once a week on Mondays at the local middle school. I thought it was really rewarding and fun because, you know, you're learning Italian while they're learning English, and it's just interesting to see those interactions and how they unfold. You have to come up with your own coursework, and all the kids are really excited to be there. I couldn't really get a good read of how the students felt about the American students throughout the whole program. But then at the end, they were all so sad and so grateful when it was our last class, that it was just so sweet to know that we'd actually helped them learn English, and we'd actually given them an experience that they were really excited about. And it was really rewarding and awesome. And actually, the extracurriculars coordinator at SYA Italy, Dave, and I became very close. And so I helped him out with the open mic, which happens twice a year. And so the second open mic, Sophia, who actually isn't joining us, I guess, but Sophia and I and him, we wrote a musical, sort of. And Sophia and I choreographed some dances, and we made everyone do it. And so that was kind of our, that was really just the entire second part of our year, what we did. It was really fun. We made everyone practice in the salone, which is like kind of like the school's living room, library area. And so that was really, really fun.
Wait, was that Footloose?
Yeah, that was Footloose, yeah.
I remember seeing pictures, I think, of that. So,
That's awesome.
Molly, do you want to talk about kind of how Dave's role and how?
Yeah, sure. So in Italy, we have an extracurricular coordinator, and their whole job is to make sure you can continue the interests that you have in America when you're abroad, and they also help you find new interests too. So everything, whether you're interested in soccer or theater or dance, our extracurricular coordinators really well connected in the local community and can pretty much help you out with just about any extracurricular that you're interested in. So yeah, it's really a great opportunity also to meet other locals and really practice your Italian. A lot of kids say they'll be playing soccer, but all their words will be in Italian. And when they're doing a theater production, everything's going to be in Italian there. So that's a really good way to really become fluent in your Italian. Yeah.
Yes, good news. If you play soccer, you'll be able to do that in Italy. They like
For
it there.
sure.
It was a big deal. It was a very big deal.
It is a big deal over there. So another big part of SYA is travel. Do you want to talk about a little bit about travel that you did as a group, like with the school, and if you also did any independent travel?
Yes. I think second to my host family, travel, independent travel, and just travel was my favorite part of SYA. School trips, the winter trip, we went to northern Italy. So I think we went to 9 cities in, oh, maybe it's 9 cities in 11 days. That sounds right. And so I think one thing that I think I learned from SYA Italy is there's no way to get 50 kids to become closer than put them in a bus for 2 weeks and travel around Italy. It was so fun and so incredible. I think we went to Venice, Trieste. Of course, I'm blanking on all the names now, but
Probably Bologna, Milan, maybe.
All of the good places. It's incredible. First of all, you're traveling around Italy. It's going to be incredible. But on top of that, you're with all of your classmates who will at that point be your favorite people in the entire world. And it's just a really great experience to be with everyone for that long. It seems daunting to be with kids for that long, but it isn't. Everyone gets along really well, and it's really fun. It's because the trips are so incredible that no one's focusing on the social dynamics. Everyone's just focusing on being in Venice or being in Trieste, something incredible like that. And I think actually we spent Thanksgiving on that trip in a town like close to Venice, which is another really incredible thing to kind of share that day with your classmates and your teachers. It's another thing that brings everyone really close together. And then in the spring, we went to Greece, which was my favorite trip of the year. It was incredible. We took an overnight yacht, and by yacht, I mean boat. Not a yacht necessarily. And some other Greek classmates, like a Greek program of Greek kids. And that trip, we went to Athens, Delphi, and a whole bunch of other cities like the trip before. And it was incredible and so enriching and so stunning. And you learn so much. The activities are set up so that you're not just there to see things, take photos, you're also interacting with the locals. And you're finding out different things that you probably would never have found out otherwise. And it's also a good way to kind of, not end the year because it's not the end of the year, but it's a good way to kind of bring everyone back together after the middle of the year. And then as far as independent travel goes, I loved independent travel. I really suggest taking advantage of independent travel. I went to Paris, London 3 times, Barcelona, Sorrento, the Amalfi Coast, and yeah, oh, and Rome. But independent travel is one of the great things about SYA Italy. You're not with teachers, not with any of your parents. It's you and 1, 2, or 3 other people. And you have to plan it yourself. You have to put in the forms yourself. It's really what it's in the title. It's independent travel. And it really allows you to feel that independence that you're given when you go to SYA Italy. And to explore a city where you've never been before with people you met a couple months ago. It's something that really brings people together, and it's really a great learning experience, and it's also just really fun.
That's great. But a lot of people ask about independent travel, and it is something that it's a privilege, absolutely, that you have to earn, and you have to demonstrate that you have excellent command of the language so that you can speak in that language before you go, and it doesn't start until later in the year. But once you, like Gio said, you put together an itinerary, you have to book exactly where you plan out exactly where you're going and when you're going to be there, and get that signed off by a series of people, including your parents at home and the RD. And there are specific weekends that's available to you if you've earned that privilege. So, and it's one of, like Gio said, one of the most exciting things, I think, about the travel. So, and we have a couple of questions coming in, so we're going to get to those. So if you are thinking of questions, please put those in the chat box. We have a couple more minutes. What is your piece of advice for next year's students that are thinking about going? What do they have to do in Viterbo? What should they know before what would you have told yourself if you were on the other side of this screen?
What would I have told myself? Embrace the weirdness of the year. Embrace all of the feelings that you will feel. I personally got really homesick for, I think, a longer period of time than most, I think all students do. But I think it would have been easier for me and easier for my host family had I just let them know what I was feeling, and just let them take care of me, because that's what they want to do at the end of the day. They want to
and they know how to take care of you too.
Oh my God, they really do. When I finally told them, there were hugs, and there was tea, and they made me burgers, and there were the whole 9 yards. They just it's so incredible what they're willing to do for you. Yeah, embrace it. Embrace everything that SYA has to offer. Go on independent travel. Scare yourself. Go outside your comfort zone, and be okay with it. Because it seems scary in the moment. Your stomach's gonna be turning. You're gonna have no clue where you are. Your phone's not gonna work because you're gonna have a little Italian phone. But it all works out in the end. The program isn't meant for you to, fail. You're not gonna get lost. You're not gonna, not find your way back to the Viterbo somehow. You're always gonna end up with your host family at home, and it will become home. So I think, yeah, that's what I would say. I hope you agree.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and check out Nadia at the coffee shop on the corner.
That was the other thing I was gonna say. Go to Bar 103. Hang out with Nadia. Oh my God.
Tell her I said hi. When I mentioned I chaperoned, and I was there for just a couple of days, and by the end, they gave me coffee to take home. They were like, "You're not staying for the whole summer," and I was like, "No," and I have to go work. And they were like, "Oh my God," and they took my picture, and it's up on the wall, and they're just amazing. But that's
great.
That's what the people of Viterbo, I think, are like. They're genuinely that warm and amazing. Yeah. So we have a couple minutes left. I'm going to try and get through a couple of questions. Molly, maybe you can answer this, but I'm happy to also. Emma wanted to know about the capstone project. Did they have the capstone project when you were there, Gio?
We were the first year, yeah. I just lost you. I can't hear you.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Sorry. Do you think you could talk about it for just a quick minute, or I can if.
Yeah, the capstone project, I think it's the last, well, for me at least, I think they're changing it because I'll be the first tester year. But it was the last month of school, you didn't really have classes, and instead you worked on a capstone project where you were put in a group with, I think, 6 other kids. And each kid, each student would focus on one class. So I did Latin, someone else did art history, someone else did citizenship, etc. And you all chose a city, and you basically spent 2 weeks prepping a project based around that city, prepping information. You know, I would focus on the Latin aspects of, I went to Pisa, so I focused on the Latin aspects of Pisa, same for the rest of the classes, with their subjects. And then you spend 4 days in the city with that group of people, and you go to all the museums, you go wherever you research, you go to the places to find what you need to find to create basically a research project on that city. And then at the end, 2 weeks after you get back, I think, you put together the project and then you present it to your families and your students. And that's kind of the capstone of the year.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks. Yeah, and they may be changing a little bit of the format, but essentially the idea behind it is that you're taking everything that you learned throughout the entire year and putting it all together and making sense of it and doing it all in Italian.
Oh yeah,
So Emma, I hope that answers your question. If you want to know some more about it, you can feel free to reach out to Molly.
Yeah, sure.
And she can talk to you a little bit more about that. And we do have one more question about college and how well prepared you felt for the SAT testing, and if you were thinking about college when you were at SYA. And maybe Molly, you can talk about the college process really quickly after Gio.
Sure.
In terms of prep for SAT, I did all of mine the summer before I left for Italy because I knew I wasn't going to get myself to do SAT prep while I was there. Turns out I actually did do a little bit while I was there. I had a personal tutor, so she would Skype with me and we do it through that. It definitely was more difficult doing it while I was there because, putting away, I had extra time, putting away, 4 hours for a practice test isn't as easy on weekends when, Sundays are meant for, big family lunches and Saturdays are, then for homework. So that was definitely something I avoided. So I really suggest prepping over the summer and prepping, as much as you, also, student dependent, prepping as much as you think you need to. I did not necessarily think about
Did you go as a junior or as a senior?
I was a junior. Yeah. I think a lot of schools' junior year is like big college year, and it's really stressful and it's crazy and it's hectic. I don't think anyone in my class felt that. We had a college counselor who wasn't a college counselor before then, so that was something that was only particular to our year. And the college counselor, I think this year and the year before mine is incredible. But so that was. It was on my mind, of course, because all my friends at home were talking about it, but it wasn't something that had a huge presence. And then I came back to America over the summer. I did all my college visits that everyone else did during the spring. Prepped for the SAT some more. I only took one SAT while I was there. I took 3 here, senior year, and I took all my subject tests. I took 2 subject tests. Yeah, I took all my subject tests here too as well. And I only took 1 AP while I was in Italy as well. AP Italian. So I kind of let Italy be its own year, which I suggest for all of you, because if you let college infiltrate your year, it could really make it not as great as it could be.
Yeah. So Molly, do you want to talk a little bit about the process and And how the testing and all of that type of thing.
Yeah, sure. So we do have a college counselor abroad in Italy that you will have access to, and they are really great about coordinating with your homeschool college counselor, so you can stay on track for all the deadlines for your homeschool and also just generally for colleges. And then you can also take all the SATs, ACTs, APs, all of that in our school in Italy in English, not in Italian.
Good point. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it really doesn't allow, you won't get behind on a year just by going to Italy. You'll still have access to all the same things you do in America.
And I guess the point is too to know yourself. I mean, Gio wanted to have her Italy experience be her Italy experience and not really worry too much. So that's a good point about being able to do something in the summer ahead of time before you leave. And if you need to visit any schools, that's obviously something that you can't do when you're in Italy. So we encourage students, if they would like to visit their colleges, to do that the summer before too. Well, it looks like that is just about all the time we have, and I think we've covered everybody's questions. So I will put Molly's information in the chat box below in case you have questions, you have thoughts, you have feelings, you want to call Molly and see how she's doing.
Go for it.
And she will do anything she can to help you out with that. I want to congratulate everyone again on your acceptance to SYA Italy, and welcome to the class of 2017. Gio, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congrats, guys. Do SYA. It's incredible. You'll love it. I promise. That's all.
Great. Thank you. All right, everyone. Congratulations again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.